Flower bed design could be its own course, so there's a lot here, but I wanted to just briefly touch on a few design principles that can help you. When you buy a new house or move into a place, often one of the first things you'll do is take a look at the yard and plan how to fix it up a bit or make it what you want it. Be careful before you start ripping things out because once a tree is cut down or a bush is removed, you can't get that back. It's best to have a plan before you start taking things out. When planning what to plant, you'll want to have a rough measurement of your space and then draw on paper what you might want. Be aware of color. In my opinion, gardens that work within a color scheme are what set themselves apart from other gardens. Luckily, God is a great artist, and so it's hard to go wrong when planting flowers. But if you'll put a little thought into the colors and how they work together and stick within a color scheme, you'll be amazed at what a difference that makes. Another thing to be aware of is scale, and that a garden is not static, it's ever changing. So when you plant a tree or a bush, you need to have awareness of how large it will get and plan accordingly. Plan for the now and plan for the later. Also, factor in how much time you have. If you spend a lot of time at sporting events on Saturdays or you're gone most weekends or evenings and days off, then you'll want to probably depend mostly on perennials. Choose perennials that grow well in your area and plan them so they will bloom at different times of the year so that you always have some color in your yard. Here's a list of some of my favorite perennial flowers that grow from bulbs or tubers that you can grow in the same bed that will flower at different times for continuous color. So keep in mind that these are not going to be perennial in every zone. So look at your zone and choose ones that are perennial in your zone. There are many, many more than this, but this will give you a place to start as you design your beds. There are also flowering trees and bushes that you can make a part of your design. Especially in the spring, there's all kinds of beautiful ones. Forsythia, quince, Bechtel crab, quans and cherries, and magnolias. And there are more than that. Another strategy for those that aren't interested in spending much time doing yard work is to choose mainly greenscape plants like trees, grass, bushes, ivy, ferns, and then get a few large pots to put around the yard. Then, once a year at the start of spring, plant some colorful repeat blooming annuals in the pots to add a splash of color all season long. Impatiens or begonias would be some really good options for shade pots, or bedding zinnias or petunias would be lovely repeat sun bloomers for pots. If you wanted something with a little height in your pots, you might choose zinnias, snapdragons, or cosmos. My advice to all those that are trying to improve your yard: take into account your budget and your time. Gardens can take both of those, but with some smart planning, you can save a lot of money and a lot of time. The way to save money is with seeds. Also, weigh what you have the least of. If you're low on time and low on money, then just make a plan that renovates your yard over time. Take it a little at a time and year to year if you need to, but begin with the end in mind. Once you're sure of your plan and you have your long-term plan year to year, start by taking out trees, bushes, or perennials that you don't want. Then put time and effort into designating your growing areas. This will include any paths or hardscape items that you want. Designate your flower beds, where you want trees, maybe gravel, a vegetable garden. Do this first. Once you've done that, you'll want to improve your soil and make sure you have water where you need it. Then plant your trees and bushes so that they can begin to establish. Then you'll do perennials like peonies, lilies, chrysanthemums, etc. And then finally, lastly, your annuals. So that's kind of the general process for bringing your yard to where you want it to be. Stay within a color scheme. Plant perennials if you want to save time. Plant seeds if you want to save money. And hopefully, again, there could be a whole course on this, but hopefully that can give you just the meat and potatoes to getting your yard to where you want it to be, to planting your flower beds, and to creating a beautiful outdoor space.